What's going on, folks? Welcome to the latest edition of Nintendo Enthusiast Week in Review. I'm Shawn Long. I'm an editor over at NintendoEnthusiast.com. This is the first episode of 2015, so welcome to the year. Seems like we all made it out alive. Hope you had a good New Year's celebration. Me, I just drank a little vodka and fell asleep. So, you know, getting old. But yeah, so this week was kind of quiet on the news front, but there's two stories I want to talk about, and then we're going to talk about some predictions for Nintendo in 2015. So, without any further ado, let's jump into this past week's news. Alright, so the first piece of news I want to go over is an interview that Reggie just did recently. In that interview, Reggie stated that hardware sales for the Wii U were up 40% over 2013, and software sales over the same time frame had almost doubled. That's a pretty good number. You know, it's not the greatest in the world. Everyone's got the Wii U at about 8.5 million sold, which isn't where, you know, Nintendo wants to be. But an improvement's an improvement, and 40%'s a decent number. And the software side of things, you know, that's a really telling story because we had games like Mario Kart, Smash Brothers, Bayonetta, Hyrule Warriors. So if software sales are up, that's a great indication that hardware sales will continue to go up. So as long as that trend keeps going, I can see Nintendo being in a very happy place. Alright, so the second piece of news I want to talk about is a little bit more speculative, but it's something that's kind of pissing me off, man. If you might have noticed, Tetris for the Game Boy and Tetris Access for the 3DS were both pulled off the 3DS eShop. Now, why would that be? You know, who has the license to the Tetris right now? Who would be petty enough to want Nintendo to pull Tetris? Oh, that's right. It's Ubisoft, Douchebag of the Year 2014 award winner. Now, how the hell am I 2 days into January and I'm already pissed off at Ubisoft? Now, it could just be a coincidence or whatnot, but it's kind of random that Ubisoft just acquired the licenses to Tetris not too long ago, just came out with a Tetris game not too long ago, and now all of a sudden Nintendo is taking Tetris for the Game Boy and Tetris Access, which was a Hudson Soft developed game, off of the 3DS eShop. You know Ubisoft's lawyers are the ones doing this. Like, it's pretty speculative, but if it looks like a piece of shit and it smells like a piece of shit, it's probably Ubisoft. So, I mean, I don't know, man, that's just crazy to me. You know, Tetris on the Game Boy was so iconic and it was such a great game. To have that pulled in lieu of your game, which, by the way, was broken as hell on the PS4, how do you mess up Tetris? That, like, I've never programmed anything in my life. I'm pretty sure I could program Tetris, a basic Tetris game. So Ubisoft, you're taking an L on this one. I don't know, you know, for fact if that's the reason why, but it seems that way. So, you know, the whole situation's crazy. It's just insane.
This week's Retro Game of the Week is brought to you by PunchOutGaming.com. From retro gaming to modern, PunchOutGaming.com has you covered. Join their Facebook group for the best sales as well. Link in description.
Alright, so if you watched my top 10 NES video that I just did like 2 days ago, you may have noticed that I mentioned Capcom and Sunsoft were great at making TV and movie license games for the NES. If you didn't watch it, click over here. Here's a link for it. Now, with all that being said, I covered a Capcom game in my top 10 NES list, but I didn't cover a Sunsoft game. Well, let's change that with this week's Retro Game of the Week, Batman. More like Ninja Gaiden than Batman, it's still a very good game. Batman has a lot of tools at his disposal. It definitely plays a lot like Ninja Gaiden, but all the levels and whatnot are taken from environments that were in the first Batman movie by Tim Burton that came out in '89 with Michael Keaton. So I really love this game. It's really fun. It's very challenging, but it's a really well done game, and it kind of shows Batman in a different light that we never ever see him in again. Kind of the whole ninja side of Batman. So it's a solid pickup. It's a cheap game, and it's really fun. You'll get a lot of enjoyment out of it, especially if you enjoy Ninja Gaiden games. Alright, so like I said, there wasn't a whole lot of news this past week with the holiday and all that. So, for the rest of the episode, I'm going to talk about some things that I think Nintendo will do in 2015. So, kind of speculative, but, you know, it'll be fun. And plus, it'll be fun to see at the end of the year which one of these things comes true. The first thing I predict is we will see more second-party collaborations with Nintendo. You might be saying, you know, what's the basis for that? Well, we had Bayonetta 2 and Hyrule Warriors last year. Bayonetta 2 was made, of course, by Platinum Games. Hyrule Warriors was made by Koei Tecmo. I think they just changed their name back to Tecmo Koei. No, that was Bandai Namco. Never mind. Anyways, so both of those games did surprisingly well. Hyrule Warriors, we know, sold much more than anticipated in the US and sold about on par in Japan. And Bayonetta 2 sold really well too, especially in regions like France and Germany and stuff. It did very solid in the United States. Now, was it worthy enough to get a sequel or to entice more companies in to want to work with Nintendo hands-on? That's not really the point of the whole second-party thing. You see, these third-party companies that are becoming second-party companies by working with Nintendo directly and working with Nintendo's money, they're already getting paid. They're getting paid just to make the game, and Nintendo's giving them money, and then Nintendo gets the kickbacks from the sales of the game or whatnot. So I'm sure there's more incentive for these third-party companies to want to make other games because they'll make more money. The more the game sells, of course, the more money they'll make. So it'll be very interesting. I think, Devil's Third is coming out. That's going to be another second-party game. Itagaki's behind it. I love Itagaki, the original creator of, so many of my favorite games. So I think we'll definitely see more second-party collaborations in 2015. Whether they come out or not, that's who's to say. But, Hyrule Warriors pretty much came out of nowhere, and that released in 2014. So I think there's a good chance, especially in the latter half of the year. Nintendo's pretty stacked at the beginning of the year. The latter half of the year is wide open. So hopefully we'll see more of those second-party collaborations, and I really think we will. Alright, so my second prediction for 2015 is that we'll see more high-prolific indie games come to the Wii U. Now sure, there's a lot of bottom-of-the-barrel stuff like Jet Tailfin on the Wii U eShop, but there's also a lot of great games on the 3DS and the Wii U. We have games by Renegade Kid, WayForward, these are huge companies in the world of indie games, pretty much transcending the standard indie company. Well, now Curve Studios came along around in the fall time, and they just put out a bunch of stuff. Great games. Thomas Was Alone, Stealthing 2, Game of Clones, tons of stuff. So why would they do that if there wasn't money to be made there? See, I think a lot of bigger indie companies are realizing that if they release a high-polished, high-quality content game on the Wii U eShop, it's going to sell because there's not really third-party games there. They could really step in and be the third-party companies, which they need to be. We need to see more games from these indie companies. I want to see sports titles, over-the-top sports titles. Games like Sports Ball, football games, something like that. I want to see first-person shooters. Give me a variety of games, and you're going to have the eShop on lock, and everyone's going to love you, and you're going to make bank. So I definitely think we'll see some big indie companies coming to the Wii U and putting their games on the Wii U in 2015. Alright, so my final prediction for 2015, kind of a no-brainer, but it's definitely something I want to talk about, and I believe we're going to see Samus for the Wii U. There's going to be a Metroid game up for the Wii U. It's not going to come out in 2015, but we're going to see one. Probably at E3, and it's probably going to be freaking amazing. You got to remember, think of how good Metroid Prime looked on GameCube. Think of how good Metroid Prime 3 Corruption looked on the Wii. Those were freaking awesome first-person shooter games. And with the hardware and the power of the Wii U, which a lot of companies don't want to harness, man, it's going to be great. I really hope they go with a strong online multiplayer component. I know Devil's Third is going to have a sick online multiplayer component, but if Metroid does it, it could easily become a big, thing like a Halo or a Call of Duty or whatever, just because the single player is so good to begin with. A single player mission in Metroid is going to be awesome. So if you could combine a great single player with a great multiplayer campaign, even something simple, it doesn't have to be crazy over the top, highly customizable, but as long as they do it right, I can see that game making a killing and being a huge system seller. So we'll probably see Metroid at E3, maybe an early 2016 release. That would be the earliest, I feel. Alright, so that's going to do it for this week's episode. First episode of 2015. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you like some of my predictions. Hope you guys hate Ubisoft like I do. If you haven't, be sure to like the video, subscribe to our channel, leave me a comment, hit me up on social media. Get up with me, man. I'm a very talkative person. I'll respond to your comments in the comment box. Do what you gotta do. Also, if you're watching this early January, like I hope you are, January 15th, we're having a huge event. I'm not going to talk about it because it's not my baby, it's Jason's baby, but be on the lookout for information on that because it's going to be awesome. So I'll see you guys next week. As always, have fun, play some video games, all that stuff. I'll see you later.